Welcome to the podcast, Charlie. Thank you very much for agreeing to come on.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me. Been looking forward to it.
So I'm going to ask you the same question I ask all my guests. What is your money story?
Wow, it's a big story. It spreads over 40 years that I've started off as an apprentice plumber, and at that particular time, you didn't get paid hardly any money whatsoever. It was a very, very low paid job. All apprentices are. But I was told then that what you don't earn as an apprentice, you'll earn later in life, and that was true. I'd done my apprenticeship of plumbing and very quickly become a self-employed plumber. And the reason I went into plumbing was in the local area where I used to live in Camden Town when I was about 9 or 10 years of age. I come from a very poor background, working class family, no money whatsoever around. And I met up with a plumber guy in the area that he seemed to be the richest man in the area, had a motorbike, a car, holiday, nice home, jewelry, everything you could think of that money would buy, this guy had. And I used to bunk off school and go and work with him. And I was just so inspired of what he had. I was also so inspired of the money he was earning. I was inspired with the way the people treated him. They treated him like, I'm not going to say a king, but they treated him with so much respect. And they were very wealthy clients that he worked for in Amsterdam, Primrose Hill area. And I was just shocked and amazed at how much money they was giving him. And one of the first jobs we went on, he said to me, when he got paid, he said, this is as much as what your father is earning in a factory for one job. And I can't quite remember what the figure was. But that was the going rate, evidently, for a good class plumber. And that just inspired me. So as much as I liked not going to school and getting my hands dirty, the idea of the money was a massive, massive inspiration. It's something you don't talk about a lot because that's the way we're brought up, especially from a poor class family. You never talk money. But in the same token, that's what it was about. I admit what I'm saying here, but it's not something that I go around talking about all day long. But that was my ambition. Was I just felt what he explained to me was that, I didn't really know what the word wealthy was, but he said to me, you'll never be out of work and you'll earn loads of money. And that has stuck with me through, probably 60 years of working. Have I got that right? No, I think I might. 55 years of working, that has stuck with me, the idea of the money. And I see what it gave him in life, and obviously it can give you a lot more, which you don't really realise until you've got it. So very, very motivated by money. I'm not ashamed of it at all, but it is something that is very difficult to talk about because it appeals to some people and some people it doesn't. But I'm very glad that I've done it, and I'm very glad that I can talk about it.
And do you still feel uncomfortable talking about money?
I'm comfortable in the right company talking about it. It's very difficult sometimes, and it's something that throughout my life I will never bring up money. But if somebody brings it up, I could write a book about it, quite easily. I have to make sure who I'm dealing with and who's looking for that, because it can be a big burden, and it is a burden now. I mean, I say this to anybody. There's good and bad about making lots of money. And the good is you can do what you want. You can go where you want. Have the best hotels, the best cars, chauffeur, best apartment, or not the best apartment in London, but a brilliant apartment in London on the river, holiday homes, traveling a lot. The what it can give you is amazing, but there is a downside to it, and the downside is you lose a lot of friends and family. You lose a lot of things can go on the way. I say anybody that's successful that makes a lot of money, something's going to give on the way. It may be your health, it may be your marriage, it may be family, it may be friends, it may be your mental health. There's something that goes on the way, and so there is a disadvantage to working hard and earning lots of money, but the advantages outweigh it by far. What went on my career, on my lifetime, was 2 marriages. And I think a lot of that was to do with wanting to succeed and wanting to get more all the time, and not enough hours in the day. And of course, we enjoyed the great side of it, but there is a downside to it, and it's not everybody's cup of tea. But as I say, if I went again, I'd do it bigger and better and quicker and more money, and enjoy my life even bigger and more than before.
I'll come back to what you said there with regards to, you know, kind of the lessons to be learned. But if we go back to that first mentor, essentially, the business man that you aspired to be, that you looked up to, who showed you the opportunity available, what did you do? What action did you take at that point in time that led you to build the business that you led?
Yeah, well, I think the thing I picked up was, you know, how important it is to get an apprenticeship, and the words he said, you'll never be out of work and you'll earn lots of money, and that was a big sort of inspiration. And all through my apprenticeship, where I was earning no money, I just keep remembering what he was saying to me. And of course, it was, you know, I think at that time plumbers were fairly well paid. They weren't anything brilliant, but I also picked up that he was working for wealthy people. Also picked up a lot of the way he conducted himself. You know, he just done everything the right way. Turn up on time, smart, very transparent. You know, decent guy kind of thing, and also done a good job, and reliable and trustworthy. So I picked up all of them things straight away from him. But I couldn't work out why everybody sort of loved him, kind of thing. You know, they've got this problem in their house, boiler not going, or leaking pipe, but you know, Bill turns up and they're, you know, giving him cups of tea and dinner and giving him tips and, you know, can't wait to see you again kind of thing. I was just sort of amazed, and giving him loads of money. You know, it's just, and he used to give me at the time £2 a day, which is 10 pence a day to equivalent today. And he used to also buy us a sort of dinner in the cafe, which was egg and chips every day and bread and that type of thing. And I think if all I ever wanted to be was a plumber, all I ever wanted to do was earn money, all I ever wanted to be was like Bill. So we worked on and off probably for 12 to 18 months, you know, sometimes at weekend and you know, mainly when I used to bunk off school. And you know, we all learn from somebody, and I realised then that, you know, when you're young and somebody plants the seeds, it works kind of thing. It's the best time to plant them, I think, even though it can be later in life. Somebody, you know, we all learn from somebody, and I've learned that in life. And you know, I always say that if Bill would have been a bank robber, I'd have probably been a bank robber, because it was just right. You know, This was bringing in money. I'm not sure where I've been a successful one. I don't know any successful ones, but so the seeds were planted then, and that was it. And I never sort of forgot throughout my working career why I go to work. You know, and I used to say to myself, you know, I go to work for the money, and what you can do with that money. It was, I don't, you know, I'm not a person that has money and keeps saving it. You know, I spend money. I don't say I spend above my means, but I spend and enjoy life with it, and I value money. Unfortunately, some people think I value money more than anything in life, and that isn't true, but that's people's opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And also, I think, you know, a lot of people, particularly nowadays, don't have the courage to say, I'm doing it for the money. You know, they feel they need to aspire, or to at least be talking about publicly, you know, a much, much bigger cause, you know, feeding the planet, finding a cure for cancer, etc. But if your reason is to make money, that ripple effect it has on your family, on those around you, on your ability to support other people, that can be a massively, and should be a massively, motivating statement to own.
Undoubtedly it is, and that's what's happened over the years. You know, many people have benefited from the company I formed was Pimlico Plumbers, and that went on from 1979 to 2021. So I sold it last year, October last year. We was turning over 50 mil. We employed 450 people, and I sold the business for about 145 million. And you know, that's an amazing figure. It's something that, you know, I'd have never dreamed of. You know, when I started doing this, I was very happy just to be a plumber because I knew plumbers were earning very well. I knew about Bill. And that's probably all I ever wanted to be, was a plumber, but also a very well-paid plumber. And, you know, it progressed from there because of my drive and enthusiasm. And a lot of it was, you know, not all of it was for the money. I mean, I think to be successful, it's also great without the money, you know, to be able to employ people, to be able to, you know, take on apprentices. We had about 1,200 apprentices on over that year and over them years. And that's a great thing that I bring up because, you know, I was given that opportunity to know about an apprenticeship and I've given that to many people. And even now, it's still something I promote. You know, that's my number one thing, that if someone wants some advice of me and they're young, get an apprenticeship and you'll never be out of work, you'll earn loads of money. So there's a lot of people have benefited and you know, and I'm great with that. You know, the fact that, you know, I don't have to apologize for making lots of money. And you know, there's no reason I will ever do that. What I am grateful for is that I could make lots of money, that I was fit and able to, and I was shown how to do it. And throughout my career, you know, I still see people, and if I see them doing a good idea, you know, I don't say we copy it exactly, but, you know, we learn from it. And you know, there's been a couple of other people in my life and that I work with, and I regard them as money getters. And you could either regard me as, you know, a plumber or successful businessman or a money getter. I don't mind. I mean, you know, money getters are out there. They're few and far between the real top people, but, you know, I'm happy to be labelled as a money getter. And from the people I learned off of, I've not come across, I've not actually, you know, worked with many people, or if not any, that's a better money getter than me. But of course they're out there. There's loads of them out there. I meet people all the time and they're, you know, they're doing this, doing that, and they say, I want to buy it. And I say, look, it's great. You don't have to, you know, like you say, you don't have to apologise for wanting to buy a house or for bettering your life. This is a better way I put it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And what was it that took you from wanting to be a plumber who made good money to becoming, you know, head of a massively successful business? How did you make that transition?
Yeah, that was very difficult because the hardest thing for me was, which people always ask me, coming off the tools and working in an office. But I had no choice, kind of thing, because, you know, you can't be the captain of the ship and sort of stoking the boiler, kind of thing. You can only be one place or the other. So I quickly realised where I need to be, even though the academic side is not my great side of it. But, you know, I've got the drive and enthusiasm, and I realised now that's something money can't buy. So I made the transaction, very difficult, took a number of years. And then I learned to employ people and to delegate. And they're all part of making money or being successful. They're not easy things to do, but you just learn. I mean, in the office for the first few years, I was like a tiger in a cage. Couldn't wait to get out of there. But I realised that, you know, you've got to have enthusiasm, you've got to have drive, you've got to be able to encourage people. And again, throughout the business, another great thing I'd give a tip to anybody is, people that work for you, incentivize them to do better. It's simple. I mean, I don't think business is complicated anyhow, but we complicate it. So I'm very great at incentivizing people financially, whether it be subsidised canteen. This is all the things we had at our company: subsidised canteen, gym, massage, roof garden, barbecues, Christmas party, boat party, firework party, and also lots of little events where a little bit of charity raising, whether it be the company or the individual. And I found, we also had employees of the month thing, you know, I think it was about 25, we used to have a month. We'd give them a £200 voucher for Langhams, which is a massive thing. We'd also used to do incentives of, you know, if we had a record busy day of the week, you know, we used to take 2,000 jobs a week, and if one day we take 420 in it, beat last year's one on that particular day, we'd do free lunch in the canteen. And I realised that the incentives, you know, they work, basically, they work. So a lot, sorry, just to add there, so, you know, everything that seems to be talked about at the moment is about, you know, money, getting it and using it and the value of it. And, you know, it's, you know, I say that thing, you know, as Michael Caine says, he's been rich and he's been poor and he knows which one he prefers. And I'm exactly the same.
Absolutely. And I think as well, it's how you utilize that incentive. I think for you, from what you've been saying there, building that sense of community, that sense of camaraderie at work, where people feel valued and feel as though you recognize the value that they are bringing to the organization, it ends up being a cyclical thing, doesn't it? You know, they feel valued, therefore they value you, they value what they do, they value their clients, the clients then value the service that they're getting. That builds up the company reputation, and that allows that whole circle to continue in a way that everybody feels they are part of that community.
Yeah, look, very much so. And unfortunately, we don't have too long on this to be able to explain everything. And trying to sort of put a 40, 50 years of work life into something like this is difficult. But I'm a great believer of keeping it simple. And you're right, incentivize people, which means end result is your benefit by it. And so do so many. And, you know, I've also been a great one for wanting to get a nice or having nice houses in the best place and nice apartment and drive Bentleys and all the bits that go with it. Because, you know, yes, if some people get fairly put out by it, and some people absolutely love it and they see it as a good sort of drive or a good sort of inspiration to them. And again, you know, it's nothing to be ashamed of, but there is, unfortunately, a lot of people try to make you, you know, oh, you drive a Bentley, you don't want to talk to us now. You've got this, you're in this apartment, you're on this cruise ship. Well, it's them that's got it wrong, because, you know, I think people make money. Money doesn't make you. I'm sure it does change you in your life, but I don't necessarily, you know, it changes you if you allow it to change you. And, you know, I feel I'm the same person, but just more wealthier than when I first started off. And, you know, some people call me cocky. Some people call it, you know, braggy. I mean, they can use whatever terms they want, but, you know, it's me that's driving the Bentley and it's not them. I never get anybody knocking me that's done better than me.
Yeah.
But in the same token, as much as I talk about certain amount of people that will knock you for it, there's more people will praise you for it.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about that, because what you tend to do is the people that are uncomfortable with the fact that you're driving a Bentley, you tend not to be around them people. But, you know, I get more praise than knocking on it. But of course there is a few knockers out there, and I've learned to sort of, you know, I say you have to tolerate it, kind of thing, you know, but you know, I mean, call it what you want, envy, jealousy, there's millions of words for it. But, you know, I don't believe in rubbing things in people's face. And, you know, but in the same token, I believe in being honest about it. And you know, if somebody's given an opportunity to be able to make money, and you're fit and able, then go for it, is what I would say to anybody.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, you're so right. When it comes to people who do the knocking, it never tends to be those people who are further ahead than an individual. It tends to be those that are behind, and it does say more about what's going on for them or hasn't gone on for them. That is why I think something you said earlier, you know, is so important. It is about going to seek the evidence of what you want to achieve, what you want to be, going to see somebody else who is doing it, and rather than knocking them, actually understand by this. And by the sounds of it, that's what you did. You found Bill and you wanted to work out how Bill had achieved what Bill had achieved, and therefore sought to replicate it in your own way, rather than essentially sitting there, woe is me, why have I not got what Bill's got? So you sought the evidence of, how can I become successful? How can I become rich? And then gone on to give other people an opportunity to do something similar.
Yeah, look, I totally agree with you. It's something that, you know, from you know, I bring Bill up now all these years later, and you know, without that sort of short time with him of seeing it and grabbing hold of it, then you know, maybe I'd have just been normal working plumber doing very well kind of thing. But the not having nothing in my early parts of life also was a big inspiration, because you know, money was hard to get by, and I was already doing loads of little jobs on a Saturday, so my work ethics were already there. I mean, because you know, I don't know any other way of getting money other than working, you know, legally. And you know, so to me, common sense is surely the harder you work, the more you're going to earn. I know some people are going to say, well, I work every hour possible and I don't earn much money because of the particular job. But you know, if you're a road sweeper, you can't expect a bank manager's money. And I'm not knocking anyone, I'm just saying is, you know, it goes with the territory. So you know, if you're working in a factory and that's the factory rate, then that's it. Okay, maybe you have to move around a little bit. You know, you have to leave your options open, and you know, you can't expect to earn great money if you're not over putting yourself out, because you know, one of the ingredients of making money, of course, it's hard work. I mean, I don't know anyone that doesn't make money without hard work. I also don't know anybody that makes top money without employing people. And you've got to enter into them things. That's just what I believe. It's you know, but you know, it's the opportunities are out there. That's for sure. The opportunities are out there, and I always say the same thing here. If I start again tomorrow, I would think bigger. I would make a lot more money. I would be so much more grander on everything. But it took me a while to sort of, you know, get used to how big you can be. You know, and it was probably right near the end, or the last 10 years, the end. I think, my God, if only I would have thought bigger. And my advice again to everybody is think bigger. You know, if you think, you know, I'm going to get this house, well, think one house above that kind of thing. And that's what, you know, I thought I was thinking big at the time, but I could have thought bigger, because once you get into that league of money, it's totally different. And I also realise, I know people say this, once you've got money, it's a lot more easier. There's less stress, less problems, less sleepless nights. You're not going to go bankrupt. I mean, a couple of times we nearly went into liquidation. Many times I've had sleepless nights. You know, marriages have gone. Just two, that is. And you know, fortunately, my health hasn't gone, and many friends have gone by the wayside, or so-called friends and family people. But you know, you've only got one opportunity, and I'd say to anybody, you know, make the most of it. But you know, I quite dislike it when people ram it in my face and saying, "You think more about money than this, Charlie. You think more about money than this." Well, no, I have got some perspective, and you know, I don't need to go around saying, but the certain charities that we help with, and certain other situations, you know, I let people work that one out themselves. I don't need to, you know, but I think one of the advantages of getting money is that you can help other people. And I think that's I realise now how rewarding that is, very rewarding. Even though at one time I thought, I'm never going to be giving money away. I'm never going to be doing this. It just wasn't me as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, why would you give money away? Why would you? And you know, once it starts flowing in, putting it, you know, it's good to do it. And you know, it's not a case of can you afford it, can't you afford it? You've got to be able to, if you can do something. I just feel like, I think what goes around comes around. And I'm probably going to be honest here. I don't know if it was the right way of saying it, but it seems the more I give away, the more better business was getting, kind of thing. You know, it seems to be, oh, blimey, you've helped that thing, Charlie. And now all of a sudden, you know, there's a load more sort of income coming. I didn't actually do it for that, but I realise now that the more I've done, the you know, so the more I was benefiting the other end.
And that, you know, when it comes to law of attraction, and you know, I'm not necessarily a particularly woo-woo person who kind of fully leans into the law of attraction, but actually in the law of attraction it says when you're giving money away, you're actually making room for more to come in.
Yeah, I wish I'd have known that.
Yeah.
But I would have given a bit more away. You know, and just something that comes to my mind now, and it's something I often forget. When we used to do tours at the company of like Princess Trust youngsters and other little groups who come around from a college and that, and various other groups, and we'd show them all around, and we'd show them, impress people. Basically, look at the building, look at the cars, look at the plumber, look what he's earning. He's got a motorbike, and we should do all that to inspire people. And quite often, the first questions I was always asked was, at the time, do you really drive a Bentley? Yes. Do you really earn £1 million? And the answer was yes. But it was on their mind. And when I explained to them, look, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you asking. There's nothing wrong with it. And they say, well, it's something I'd love to do, but it's never going to happen. And I say, it can happen. You mustn't have that. It's never going to happen. I said, but look, if you wanting to get a good car is your inspiration, there's nothing wrong with it. We look at a footballer and he's got a good car and he does this and he's got this, wears this. There's nothing wrong with that. And I've explained to people there's nothing wrong with wanting to better your life. And if that means making money, then that's the only route I know.
And do you find that a really rewarding part of being who you are, what you've done, the story that you have, that other people can see you as that evidence of it being possible?
Yeah, look, I mean, there's a lot of people that just talk out there, and there's loads of them. They do my head in because they're talking shit half the time. Because a lot of people, it's hard to talk about how well you've done, etc. But I wrote a book, or someone wrote it for me, I think. But I've got a book out there, and again, it says what I've done and what I've achieved, and that, and of course, I'm very proud of it. And I know it's a big inspiration. I know it's a great inspiration to people, and I'm not being cocky on that. I'm on your podcast for a reason. It's to inspire people, and if I don't inspire someone, no problem. Maybe try somebody else. But if I do inspire you, then great. And I'd say to anybody, there's nothing wrong with earning loads of money. Any business you've got, keep it simple as you can. And like the old saying, never give up. You've got to put lots of hard work into it, and it's up to you. The opportunities are out there, but they're not easy. But it's up to you. And once it gets going for you, I'm telling you, then it's amazing. Then if I'd have carried on now, we was 50 mil turnover. My plan was in my mind, kind of thing, to get to 100 mil, and I know we could have achieved that. I know that. But why did I sell up for money? And that type of money that obviously, like, you can't even dream of it. And what you can do with that money, and all of a sudden I've got this figure that 145 million, and my son still had 10% of the company, and I sold up for the money. Of course I love the company, of course it was hard to do, but I've done it for the money, and I feel the value of that money now is good. It's good for me, it's good for my family, and it's good for a few other people that are still around me, and hopefully it encourages people to go out and do it.
Absolutely. And I think that is why your story is so intriguing, is the fact that you've said you came from a working class background. Your initial aspiration was to become a plumber because that's what you wanted to do. Then you took that step of wanting to become a wealthy plumber, and then to set up a business that it was very, very well known. You were a public, and still are, a public figure that is very well known for what you have done with that business. What do you think, if you had the opportunity and there was a knock on the door behind you and your 16-year-old self came in behind you, what do you think he would be saying to you now?
Probably wouldn't believe it, I think. Yeah, I think in a way it's like, I'm not going to use the term fairy tale, but it's like it's sort of a story that I didn't really think is believable, if that makes sense. And even though it's happened to me, I think if someone was telling me this story, I'd be a little bit, are you just a talker? Because there's a lot of them out there. But one of the great values I've got is by starting a business and selling it at the other end, which I don't think many people achieve, if I'm being honest, because they get out somewhere where it goes wrong or they pass it on. And to start from beginning to end, it means that you can actually, you know, justify what I'm saying. You know, I don't have to prove anything to anybody, but, you know, I can justify it. You know, you know, basically I talk with my money, not my mouth. Yeah. So it's like, it feels unreal, but I know it's real, and you know it's very well publicised out there, and the things it's led me to, you know, whether it's TV stuff or interviews or, you know, helping out a charity thing of some kind. You know, I've done a Secret Millionaire once, that was amazing, and being involved in a lot now. I'm still involved quite a lot now, you know, with that type of thing, and it's only, you know, I'm going to the Shooting Star Ball on, I think it's this Friday. My fiance is singing there, and we was there anyhow, and we support that charity. And you know, without having money, I won't be going there. I won't be there. And we've been there last year, and it doesn't sound a big thing, but believe me, it's a big thing because, you know, you get all the celebrities there, and I know they're no different from anybody, but it's not the type of circles you would expect to move in when you're 16, 18 years old, starting out in life. And you know, it's many important things I go to now, and it's all because of I was successful with money.
Do you still get starstruck?
I never said I did get starstruck.
No, the fact that you were saying the people I am mixing with, I can't believe I'm there. That gave me the impression that possibly, okay, I will reframe that. Do you get starstruck?
I don't get starstruck, but I'm amazed at these people.
Yeah.
You know, I go along and I think, oh, that's so-and-so, and he's coming over speaking, and, you know, there's a politician, and, you know, when I met the Prime Minister and met so many people, and I think, oh, I never, you know, I do sort of, you know, think to myself, oh, this weren't on the cards, you know, and I'm finding these people are coming to me, not quite all of them, but, you know, like, you know, Simon Cowbell at the thing on Friday, last time I was there, we speak, I used to do work for him, we talk anyhow, you know, and I'm like thinking to myself, this was never on the cards kind of thing. So I think I enjoy meeting up with them people because it's nice to see successful people. But what I do find is, you know, so many of them know of me, and I presume, okay, they know of me because, yes, we run a great business. Yes, we was very, very good at PR and marketing, and yes, you know, the company's made lots of money and done lots of things with it. So it's something that yeah, I enjoy that lifestyle of it. Yeah. I mean, you know, they named us, I think, Plumber to the Stars and that type of thing, and yeah, that's great. All them things are great. You know, I remember many years ago they put in the Times, they'd done one of the first stories. I was a millionaire plumber, and it was like a bad thing. I was like, oh no, this headline's going to do me so much harm. It's terrible. And I got known throughout my career as a millionaire plumber. And, you know, looking back on that, it was the greatest thing that happened to me.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, people will always want to use successful people. And if they were to put in the paper, you've got this, you know, £200 a week plumber like kind of thing, really struggling in life, people weren't going to want me to work for them. You know, success breeds success. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the more I talk about it, the more I realise now, you know, the value of money. I mean, I've always realised the value of money because, you know, to want things in life, you know, you can only get them with money. And it's a difficult one because often people go, oh, you know, you're a slave to a pound note, you're this, you know, I used to have as many holidays as anybody, you know, and enjoy my life. And, you know, the one thing I will do, you know, as much as, you know, I'm obviously, you know, help family and that. I have 4 children and 10 grandchildren, 3 great-grandchildren. So, you know, of course I'm going to help them. And I've helped, you know, various other people and various charities. And, you know, and I have an amazing life that costs money. I go amazing places. And I ain't going to stop with that, you know. I mean, you know, the sad side of it is, or maybe it's not sad, when I leave this world, I won't be leaving much money. But to me, that's a good thing.
Absolutely. Who wants to be the richest person in the graveyard?
That's exactly, and I think that's when I realised that there is a limit. You know, there is a switch-off point, and it can be damaging with money. And what I noticed when I first really started getting money, how difficult it is of how your life changes, and you know, you can get yourself in a lot of trouble. You know, and I don't want to put anybody off, but I used to see the plumbers come on board and they was earning 500 quid a week elsewhere. Now they're getting £2,000 a week, and their life changed, And I used to, as they came on, I used to say to them, "Oh look, you'll be going on nice holidays, you'll be buying a nice car." And I think it normally starts with the car, then the holidays, then you're home, and they say, "Oh no, I'm never going to buy a house. I'm not that." I'm saying, "Oh, you will. That's what you do with money," and it works, and it's a great incentive because, I used to see them, work through it, and then I'd say to them, there is a danger point that, you start wanting to spend the money and not work for it. And they do, and they hit that point, and that can make or break you. It can send you backwards or send you forwards. But you need to be aware that, it's a rough road to make money, and you've got to be careful when you have got it. I didn't realise this, but of course I've learned it, and I watch so many people now. All of a sudden they come to the front too quick, and if you've got to maintain it, and but some what I'm saying with money, but the good side is that you can have such an amazing life with money. It opens so many doors and gives you so much in life. And I am going to bring it up, even though not too much of it. It also is so beneficial for lots of other people.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was going to be my next question. Kind of putting aside the family, etc., and supporting the family. What are you most proud of with regards to what you have been able to do with what you have created?
Oh yeah. Also, again, it's difficult questions. There's many things that come to mind. The first thing comes to mind is my OBE. OBE for plumbing services, to do apprentices, working with the government. That's an amazing thing, for sure. Maybe the other thing that comes to mind is running a, what's the biggest independent plumbing company in the UK, certainly the most recognised plumbing company in the world. I think they come in line with that. I'm not sure, if I had to pick one, I suppose that without the business, I couldn't get the OBE kind of thing. So I think I'm going to say the one thing is being successful and starting a company from nothing and selling it for that amount of money. I'm going to say that's been my most proud achievement. But there's been many. I mean, it really has been so many on the way, and the OBE is often one that's hard to say, well, that's the greatest thing I've ever achieved in my life. But I think to start the business from nothing and sell it at the other end, and be here today to talk about it, and it stacks up kind of thing. Anybody that knows of me or anyone can tell a conversation. Yes, I'm proud of earning lots of money. Yes, I'm so excited about it. And that's a wonderful thing. But I just do know that to some people it doesn't appeal to. But believe me, if you've got the opportunity to do it, do it.
And I think that is it. I think you're very, demonstrative of somebody who is very down to earth, who has been very, very driven with regards to what they have done. Is very, very honest about what it's cost you along the way. But for me, it is creating that evidence that anything is possible. You can start off with a relatively small ambition, but believe it is possible for you, and then go on to see, well, if I can do that, what can I do next? And if I can do that, what can I do after that? And then, the world is my oyster. And that is the whole purpose, of this podcast, is to get people talking about money more and not to shy away from the opportunities that money brings, but it's also to provide really easy access of the evidence of what I call the art of the possible. And, the Charlie that is sitting in front of me now, talking about his 16-year-old self and where you are now and everything that you have done in between, there will be a huge number of people who will be absolutely motivated by that. Yes, of course, there will be the detractors, but it doesn't matter what you do or you don't do. There's going to be detractors. And I think to have detractors and have money in the bank is a far stronger and more enviable position somebody would want to be in than have detractors, which we all have anyway, and no money in the bank.
Look, exactly. As I say, I'm certainly not negative of it. It's just it does get difficult. But the people that want to listen to this will listen to it. The people that will get inspired by it will do, and the ones that don't, that's fine. You know, there's not a right nor wrong. You know, making no money or making money. But all I'm saying is, you know, if you've got the opportunity or you can make the opportunity, it's amazing, and the life it will give you is amazing. Absolutely, you know. Like the more, you know, memories of all things are coming back now, and I'm thinking, yeah, it wasn't, you know, I didn't set out to do this kind of thing, and I'm wondering now if I do wonder if I'd have thought bigger, you know, would have I made more money? And the answer is yes, of course it's yes. Would have I benefited more by it? Of course I would have. You know, money has been like an amazing thing for my life, you know, and it's, you know, it's just something that like. I'd hate to be, you know, sitting here now, or I'd hate to be not sitting here. Let's put it like that. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. That's a better way of putting it. I mean, you know, I'm more excited about it than perhaps what I'm letting on. I'm trying to be sort of, you know, would you say I'm trying to be realistic about it. But you know, the excitement of it really is amazing. It's amazing, and just knowing what it's given me and what it's still giving me and what it gives to other people, and you know, the worry of, you know, of not having to worry about money kind of thing. It's so much more to it. And we all know that, you know, people say about your health's the most important thing. But, you know, even money can be an advantage there. It can help you on things. It can, you know, take a lot of the stress and strain away. And you know, I know it's not the answer to all and everything, but it's a major thing. It's been a major thing in my life and many people around it. And I'll go back to this. I know a lot of people don't like that, but there's a lot of people that do. And I mean, I'll give you a great example. My PR agent, he looks after Mike Ashley, you know, and you know, he says how much stick he gets, how much money he's made, that type of thing. And you know, again, he gets on with it and the advantage of it, and you know, and I'm just, he's like another person that I sort of, you know, see where they get the downside of being successful, and there's many other people. And when people, you know, I have to be honest, my put down line to a lot of people, because some people can be quite difficult about it. You know, you're this, you're greedy. You know, there's nothing, if you are greedy, there's nothing wrong with being greedy in a workplace. There's nothing wrong with that. But people say to me, oh, you're greedy because I want to work more hours. There's nothing wrong with that. I will say that to people. And again, you know, when the people really want to try and sort of knock you for it, oh, you know, you overcharge, you've done this load of nonsense. You don't run a business for 40 years by overcharging. You know, you don't run it by ripping off people kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you know, they say things to me, and my line at the end is, you know, who's driving the Mini and who's driving the Bentley?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I would say to people. If if you want to be successful, you've got to have the drive. You've got to put yourself out. But believe me, it's achievable.
Yeah, absolutely. Two more questions spring to mind. The first one is, and you've spoken around this to a certain extent, but what would you say if you had to just say one challenge that you have had to face in this whole thing that's called life? What's been the biggest challenge that you've had to overcome?
Okay, undoubtedly nearly going bankrupt in early 90s. The company, you know, that side of going bust is well, the memories will live with you forever. Unfortunately, we didn't go bust, but we was, I don't know how close you can be. Was in trouble, was turning over £1 million at the time. I got it wrong by, you know, letting people owe us money. So and we stopped all that. We made payment on completion that changed. Most people go bust because somebody else owes them money. Yeah. It's not normally them.
Cash flow, yeah.
And again, you learn this type of thing. And going through that bankruptcy spell, or nearly bankruptcy, and this goes on, if you survive, it goes on for 3 or 4 years. But somehow we got through it by fighting through it and changing a lot. But then the memory and the bad side of that, because I remember when I see one liquidator, and he said, "You owe 400 grand or something. How much have you got? Nothing. Okay, you need to go bust. Simple as that. You know, thinking, well, you're handy kind of thing." And then my accountant said, "I'm going to get a second opinion." And we went and got a second opinion. And this guy put it different. He said, "Look, you're going to lose your house. You're going to lose your business. You're going to sort of lose everything. You have two choices, really. Throw the towel in or fight." And he said, "If you do fight and you get through it, you come out better at the other end." And of course, that's what we decided to do. And but you know, the memory of that, to start thinking out you're going to lose your house, you know. And I spoke to somebody that had gone bankrupt, and this guy was telling me, he said that you know, he said it's terrible. He said they knocked on his house, came in. I was sort of laughing, but not laughing a bit. And he said, and he sort of took his telly away in front of his children, things like that. And yeah,
Okay.
them type of things are, you know, I mean, that didn't happen to me, and he just said to me it's one of the worst things at that time that happened to him. He had a cleaning company, and I think at the time I was thinking that, you know, we had some nice things that, well, you know, I thought it was nice at the time, which it was, but even though I got the company in a problem, but you know, to think that could happen, and then, you know, he was telling me with his children and things, and yeah, I just don't know how you get through something like that. I mean, this particular guy, he tried again, but it just wasn't going to work for him. I think that just destroyed him. So my worst thing that I've done in all my business life is so close to going bankrupt. And you know, when I use this term second opinion, blimey, I mean, yeah, you know, second opinion changed it for us, because you know, if we'd have just listened to him and the accountant just said to me, he said, "You know what?" He said, "I'm not happy with that." He said, "You know, there's £1 million. This was a new accountant I brought on the scene. He says, £1 million turnover. Let's get a second opinion." And I never used to believe in second opinions, because I'm very black and white. Yes, we do that. No, we won't. You know, and most of my business life, I don't need a second opinion. Yeah. But on that one, it was needed. And so that's my worst thing. My worst thing in my business life is going bust. And the best thing in my business life is when the lawyer rang me and said, "The 145 mils in your account."
Did you take a photograph?
Sorry?
Did you take a photograph of the screenshot of your bank account?
No, I never. He just rang me up and said, "Charlie," said, "you know,
it's there."
Yeah, so it's in your account. And I thought, oh my God, you know what I mean? You know, because you just don't, you know, you can't work this out. You can't dream this. I knew I was going to be a successful plumber. There's no two ways about that, because of Bill. Yeah. That was obvious. There was no two ways about that. You know, I left school at 15, and I've only ever done plumbing. I always say, you know, I realised it was a big mistake leaving at 15. You know, I look back on it now, and I should have left at 14. I'd have been out there making more money, because, you know, if I had all the brains in the world, I was never going to be this successful. So, you know, the fact of I'd found, to be honest, I said it earlier jokingly, and I always say that, you know, when I met up with Bill, if he'd have been a bank robber, that's what I'd have been, because the seeds were sown. And there's nothing else convinced me more than seeing the houses he working in with all this money, and seeing him getting all this money and having all these nice things. And that's why I've sort of learned in life that, you know, not to show off with things, but, you know, if me driving a Bentley inspires someone, then that's what it's about. Why not?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So bringing you forward to now, what next for Charlie Mullins?
Okay. So definitely enjoying life, traveling a lot. You know, I live in an amazing sort of penthouse on the river. I've property in Spain, a villa, which I've had a number of years that I've spent plenty of time there. And I've just bought 2 more villas, and I'm knocking them both down and building one big one in a lovely area there, right near the sea. I'm also messing about with I say messing about with a little bit of property. I'm still, you know, that's what I've done forever, is property, you know, so I'm still doing a little bit, but more things that not necessarily about making money on. It's more now about, you know, there's a particular use I've got for this building that does with family and also to do with myself. And I'm also chairman of Great British Radio that I sort of got involved with. And again, I have to be honest, the main guy that runs it is Mike Osborne. I met him through charities over the years. He's done a hell of a lot, and we worked together a lot. And he rang me out one day and said, look, you know, we need money. Would you buy in on this? And I've done it not to make money. I've done it because he's a great guy and he's done so much for so many people. So I'm involved with that, and then that seems to be working. And then, of course, you know, I know, not giving advice to my fiance singer, who's doing amazing. I'm trying to figure out. No, we've been together about a year, but a year prior to that, and I give her certain advice about where I think she should go, even though I don't know nothing about music. And you know, that's gone amazingly well. Just by, again, you know, I think what she sees, kind of thing, what you can achieve, and also just some direct advice of saying, you know, come away from what you're doing on this merry-go-round. She's been a singer for 20 odd years or whatever, and then, but you know, just plodding along. And I said, you know, come out of that and start again. And you know, you have to look at the situation. I mean, if we all done the same thing, everyone would be a millionaire. So you know, it's got to be something different. And you know, she's gone from that, and now she's with Girls Aloud manager Hilary Shaw. She just wrote an album in Nashville, records coming out next year. And is she going to be successful with it? Undoubtedly, because she's got the drive, she's got the talent, but she's also, I believe, got a good mentor.
Yeah, which is amazing. And that's what I've taken, you know, from our conversation today, you know, the importance of having a good mentor, the importance of having a bill, and getting a second opinion as well. Absolutely. Yeah. So how can people connect with you, Charlie?
I'm on Twitter. I'm not that much in the computers. You know, we had a problem connecting up today. So I'm on Twitter there somewhere, and what's the other thing? Instagram. And an email. I mean, I'm happy if someone wants to email me. Sorry, Charlie, and that would be Charlie at charliemullins.obe.com. If anyone wants to email me and they think I can give them a little bit of advice, happy to do that. The other thing is I have a book out called Bog Standard Business, and you obviously it's not about, you know, me trying to make money out of the book, believe it or not. I mean, and you know, I think that's got a hell of a lot in it. People tell me it's great, and people tell me it's very inspirational and it's very near the mark. But if someone emails me and they want a book, my people just send it out. It's not about the money. It's about, I think it costs about 17 quid, but believe me, if you get one thing out of that book, then it's worth it. Well, it's worth it, you know, for nothing. But you know, everybody's going to learn off of somebody, and I believe there's a lot in there that people can learn.
Absolutely. And don't worry, everybody, the details on how to connect with Charlie will be in the show notes, so they'll be easily able to find those. Thank you very much for your time today. I've really, really appreciated the honesty of the conversation and you sharing what it has been to be the head of Pimlico Plumbers, the life that you have had and the life that you will continue to have post the company as well. So thank you very, very much.
Thanks very much for having me, and you know, I really hope that people just take something from this and go forward, which I'm sure you all will. Thank you.
Thank you very much.